session. Okay, I hope the screen is visible to everyone here. Hopefully, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, it's
Yes.
visible.
Okay, so let us start with what is science. So let's see what is science. So science is the process of gaining knowledge and investigating by making observations, posing questions, and testing through experimentation. So that is what all you all have given in the chat box. You will come across all these words, and this is how you perceive science. Science, a system of methods used to find knowledge. Science begins with curiosity and often ends with discovery. So there are observations which we do when you perceive in your perseverance of knowledge for science, that is qualitative and quantitative. Qualitative, you have descriptive. Descriptive in the sense when you see the physical appearance of water, you see the state of water at room temperature, liquid, that all physical appearance, the colorless, all that becomes qualitative analysis. And when you want to find the boiling point of water, that becomes the numerical observation. So this is how your science begins with curiosity. You do qualitative and quantitative observations both in science. So science a system of methods used to find knowledge. Science begins with curiosity, all that we have done. So let's see next. We have some famous scientists, how they perceive what they have to say. Let us see. Gravity explains the motions of the planets, but it cannot explain who sets the planet in motion, by Isaac Newton. Here are some important quotes and some popular quotes. Imagination is more important than knowledge, by Albert Einstein, and many more. The whole of science is nothing more than refinement of everyday thinking. So it is the supreme art of the teacher to awaken joy in creative expression and knowledge. So these are some of the beautiful thoughts by a famous scientist, and you all know the discoveries and the advancement of science. They are actually the pioneer of the science. So now we will have some objectives for the session. It is divided into 4 modules. Module 1 will have different pedagogies in teaching and learning process of scientific concepts. Then second model, you will have art integration in teaching and learning scientific concepts. Module 3 will have technology as an aid in teaching and learning scientific concepts. Module 4 will explain the guidance and for preparing students for the board exam, and we'll have some tips to perform well in the board exam. So these are the 4 modules into which this session is divided into. So let us start with module 1. So pedagogy of science. What do you mean by pedagogy? What do you actually mean by pedagogy? The term pedagogy means pedagogy is actually the teaching approaches, the teaching methods. What are the different ways by which we can teach science? So specifically we are going to talk about the teaching methods in science, that is the pedagogy, the different approaches. So what are the different approaches we have in science? Let us see. The best one we need to pick up and we need to apply in a teaching learning process. So here we have the 5 major teaching approaches: constructivitis, collaborative, integrative, reflective, and inquiry-based learning. So these are the 5 pillars of teaching learning process of science, where you will see now I'm going to show you all one by one. We are going to see, explore in detail what exactly these theories are and how they help, they become instrumental in the teaching of science. So constructivitis theory, we will see what is this approach means. As the term suggests, constructivitis view of learning argues that students do not come to the science classroom empty-headed, but arrive with lots of strongly formed ideas about how the natural world works. From this perspective, learning is a process of acquiring new knowledge, which is active and complex. So it says they children, when they enter the classroom, they do not come with an empty head. They have some already perceived knowledge. They already have some amount of knowledge. So we are going to construct knowledge. Whatever they have, we are going to build that knowledge, and we are going to build on concept based on the knowledge which they already have. So this is a constructivitis approach, and in the teaching of science, we have to keep this in mind. So they are not completely empty. The mind is not completely empty. They have some concept built in. So constructive learning model, you can see they have built some concrete experience, uh, observation and reflection. Through observation and reflection, then they form some abstract concepts. Then abstract concept, they test in new situations. So with already built some concrete experience, they observe things, they reflect on things, they form some abstract concept related to that particular concept which is already there. Some new idea, some abstract concept build on that. They test it in a new situation, and then hypothesis and all that happen in the mind, not consciously, but this is how the constructive learning model works for a child. So teacher working with students and posing questions about the subject, students hypothesizing their own answers, engage students working together and developing discovery, students making connections with what they have previously learned, students asking questions when information is contradictory. So on whatever knowledge they have already built on, if what we are teaching, if it contradicts, then they will put questions on you. So this is constructivitis theory, and we'll go for next. Collaborative approach. So what is collaborative? As the name suggests, students working in group is a teamwork, how it helps in the teaching learning process of science. So collaborative learning is the educational approach where it's an educational approach of using groups to enhance learning through working together. Groups of 2 or more learners work together to solve problems, complete tasks, or learn new concepts. This approach actively engages learners to process and synthesize information and concepts rather than using rote memorization of facts and figures. So it is just not memorizing facts and figures. It is just it's a collaborative approach where you give them some project and they have to work in groups. So they exchange ideas, they share ideas, they work in group, they learn to solve problems, and they get knowledge from each other, and brainstorming and all that happens. So this collaborative approach becomes so instrumental in learning of science, because a child is not learning in isolation, is learning in a group of students where the ideas can be exchanged. So here you can have these are some benefits. They share ideas, collaboration happens, discussion happens, community building happens. They form a group, brainstorming, interaction. So these become so much beneficial for the children. So this is a collaborative approach of in the teaching learning process of science, especially when you give a project in a group, of 4 or 5. So they delegate work, they build team, and they your the leadership quality also can be developed. Okay, so next we'll see. So here you have a teamwork, working and working for a goal, have a vision. They develop so many other skills, and these are the components of the collaborative learning. Isn't it, teacher? Do you all agree with this?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, it's far more engaging than
Yes,
any
ma'am.
other approach, I feel. So what kind of collaborative approaches, like, can you give some example of a project where children work in a group and they come up something really good, something beyond your expectation, something beyond
Like
your
giving a group project
yes,
of related to environment, like we have given
wonderful,
a project where they have to
wonderful,
find out as a group.
yes,
As a group, they have to find information related to tiger conservation project. So they
wonderful,
collect information individually and collaborate with each other. It
yes.
also reflects their team spirit and sharing of knowledge.
Yes. So do you all agree with this when I say that teamwork and collaborative approach is much more beneficial to children than learning things in isolation?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
it's
ma'am.
beneficial.
Yes. So collaborative approach has become so instrumental in the teaching learning process of science, because science is all about inquiry, about experimenting things, about discovering things, about exploring things around you. So we just need to give them a platform for this. And this is the best platform, I feel so. So here your pair or group discussion, as you just now we discussed, completing shared tasks in a pair or group, matching, sorting, ranking, then activities or games with competitive elements, like you have bingo, drama and role play, information exchange activities, including barrier game and jigsaw activities. These are some of the collaborative approach we can do. Integrative approach, here the educators come up with the idea of integrating which gives the students the opportunity to link science with different aspects of their life, and with children broadly explore knowledge in various subjects related to certain aspect of their environment. So we are not we see that science, you just cannot make a compartment and strictly learn about chemistry, physics and bio. You need to have integrated approach where you can integrate various branches of science as well as science with the other subjects. So the learning becomes more beneficial for them. So here you can see integrated curriculum, one that connects different areas of study by cutting across subject matter, lines and emphasizing unifying concepts. So here the child will integrate and try to correlate or connect concepts. It enhances learning actually. So here you can have concepts where you can integrate physics, chem, bio, three branches of science. Here just for one topic like ethanol can be integrated with so many other subjects. So the topic itself gives you uh, a wide scope of integrating with so many other subjects. So science should always be integrated with some of the other subjects so that the students will find some interrelation and application of the knowledge from one field to the other. That also is built over here. So that integration is important. Biology also can be integrated with physics, geography, economics, mathematics. Here you can see different topics in the bio can be integrated with all the other subjects. So this is the magic of integration, and it gives a wide scope for the child to understand one concept in different areas. Can be integrated and can be interrelated, can be correlated with many other areas. Now, next you have a reflective approaches in the learning process, teaching learning process of science. What is reflection actually? Reflective teaching involves examining one's underlying beliefs about teaching and learning and one's alignment with actual classroom practice before, during, and after a course is taught. When teaching reflectively, instructors think critically about their teaching and look for evidence of effective teaching. So when once you see that You give a topic to the children and based on the environmental science, and you tell them to work individually, and then you realize after the assessment, you realize that it did not work well. So what should have been done? So the collaborative approach we should have tried. So that is reflective. You reflect on your own work, like you making a recipe, and then when it comes out well, so you think that yes, you have a belief that whatever step followed was appropriate and that should be followed, or something less, something more, so you need to manipulate on that. So you reflect on whatever you have done in teaching as well. So similarly, as you prepare a recipe, you need to think about the recipe. When you actually taste the recipe, you realize um, something more added or something less added, so you need to manipulate. This is how reflective approach will help in science, because everything will not work well in the science classroom. Do you all agree?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So we do not
Yes,
learn from
ma'am.
experience, we learn from reflecting on experience. So we go back to whatever experience we have, and we find what went well, very well, or where are the glitches. So we go back to these glitches and we try to overcome those glitches in our teaching, so that we improve on that. This is how a reflective approach help in the teaching of science. So it is a stage of learning when students do not merely repeat and revise answers for the question, they only understand or interrelate or interpret the concept, but also ponder upon it, contemplate and pay serious, thoughtful consideration to the presented content. So here it helps children also to realize what went wrong or what was the best thing we did. So that reflective approach really help in improving. So here we plan, we act, we observe, and then we reflect. This is how it works. The inquiry-based learning, it is a essence of science, where inquiry-based science adopts an investigative approach to teaching and learning, where students are provided with opportunities to investigate a problem, search for possible solutions, make observations, ask questions, test out ideas, and think creatively and use intuition. So when you seedling process, if some seeds do not germinate, then you have an inquiry why a particular seed germinated and why the other seeds does not germinate. What was the problem? So you look for the problem and try to find solution. So the inquiry-based learning becomes the essence of science, where you have here you can develop the inquiry bent for children, specifically here when you do experiments. So these are the some advantages. You resolve doubts, create new knowledge, solve problems, seek best possible solution or answers. So germination of seed does not happen because there are so many possibilities. So you work on the possibilities and you come out with the best solution. Throw hypotheses, these are the possibilities, and then work on it. So this is kind of inquiry. You can kind of concepts or activities can be given to children, and we can find the truth. These are some of the benefits of the inquiry approach. So here the student they are engaged, they explore, they explain, they elaborate, and then they evaluate. So this circle completes when you have a inquiry based approach in the teaching learning process of science. So I wonder circle, I wonder, I think, I try, I observe, I record, and I discover. So this help the child to complete that circle, and learning of science becomes more meaningful actually. In your module 2, you will have integration of art with science. Why we need to integrate art with science here? Let us see how art becomes so instrumental over here. So art education isn't just about having a positive impact on student learning or dipping a brush in some paint and calling it a day. Culture cannot exist without art. Art lies at the core of human identity. And this is why the most important gift a teacher can give their students is an appreciation and understanding of art, as well as ability to create it for themselves. So let us see. Um, Art is a universal form of communication and creative expression. It is often a language that expresses our experiences, and perception of the world around us in varied form. Art can be classified into two broad categories. They are visual and performing arts. Just we quickly go through the slides for the visual and the performing art and how they become instrumental in the teaching of science. Here we will see some of type of some form of the arts which we have, visual and performing arts, how they become instrumental in the teaching and learning process of science. So combining arts with science, building on children's interest in nature while allowing artistic expression, it provides evidence that art integration provides positive outcome in important areas such as learning, school climate, and teacher collaboration. So science and art, when you integrate, it can create wonder. How they will create magic? Let us see some science project, some science artwork. You can have phases of matter. This kind of project can be given to children. Integration of art with science becomes so very interesting for them. Uh, uh, this kind of poster making for plant cells and animal cells. You can have a poster making in acid basis like this, where the knowledge will be perceived in an artistic manner and becomes so very interesting to them. Just have a glance. Here you can have a tree of the chemical formula. So just learning the chemical formula becomes so dull and dry for the children. This kind of art activities will really give an air and interest to the children in that particular field of chemistry. And the learning of the formula becomes so very interesting for them. Here you can have a foldable wheel. This is an interactive book, the booklet type where you can show the laws of Newton's laws of motion. This kind of projects will be really very interesting. Poster making you can have on different concepts in physics. Concept mapping can be done. Concept map, another way you can integrate art with science. Here you can see how you can do a concept mapping in bio. So very interesting. Some picture illustration in artistic way will help the concept which are difficult for them to understand. The reflection of light uh, becomes so very joyful where it becomes very difficult for to understand this concept of reflection. Refraction can be, you can have this kind of picture illustration where they can realize what actually happened in refraction. Here you have reflection and refraction together. So when you can have this kind of picture illustration when you're teaching a concept of reflection and refraction together. So that becomes more concrete for them instead of just merely giving the theories, scientific poems where become art combined with science. Like a poem in science, I held up a prism, the sun made a rainbow on my book. A teacher explained about bending light, my friends all came to look. Science is like writing. A poem takes white light in me and breaks into colors for everyone to see. So this is you are giving a chance for the sublimation of the creative expression of the child, which will include your scientific concepts as well. Your the learning becomes so very interesting and permanent. Mnemonics, another aid, a great help in learning uh, activity series which you have in chemistry. So mnemonics is a great help for the memory. Here you have another mnemonics called period 1, 2, 3, 4. Now in module 3, here you will have technology in science. You can see your technology helps science and science helps to build technology. Please mute yourself. So technology and science, they both goes in hand in hand. So here you can have laboratory where you can work online and offline. I will show you OLAB how it works. You can make them do some project model making in science, some research work. You have educational videos in YouTube, science quizzes, games. And here we have some very important website which I will share with you. That is OLabs and CK12. So hands-on, we can give some project which they can do offline as well as online. Where it is not possible to give them offline, we can try online. And the experiment will help them to give them, it really is a first hand experience for the children. So why hands-on experience so very important? It becomes the soul of science. When you teach them in the lab, they actually see the theoretical concept with their learning. They can practically verify in the lab. This can be done in the lab physically. But if you are not able to go to the lab, then you have a O lab over here. Online lab, you can take children to the online lab. And this is O lab where gives a beautiful experience to the children. So here, if you go for biology here, so let us see how simulation can be done for study mitosis in onion root tip. Here you have simulation, animation, a theory, procedure you have over here. You can make them write procedure. You have animated video. So I'll show you simulation of this, how it helps, how it's a simulation of the actual lab.
I'm grateful that God can create
So here you can adjust this course adjustment, fine adjustment, and then you can virtually actually show them the adjustment of the slide in the bio. Slide adjusted. Now you have a different resolution. Suppose I take this resolution of 100. So this will be seen under microscope. So this kind of simulation can be done. And instead of physically going to the biolab, child can, it will be really interesting for the child for the online if you are not able to go physically. So online lab is a very interesting lab where on offline also can be used for revision of the experiment which you have done. Science projects which we have, you have some 3D models you can give them, like you have a 3D model of a cell where you can show different organelles. This gives them some first-hand experience. So instead of just giving them the diagram, you can give them this kind of project. The 3D model of a internal structure of an eye. You can give them simple project like a electric motor in physics, the electrical generator, some simple project on structure of the atom where they just becomes abstract about the atom, protons, neutron, electrons. To give them such project, give them some ideas to make such projects where it becomes so concrete, acid-based indicators. Give them some project to do like this at home where they can actually try themselves. So can be done offline, online. You can give them some research work, why the bulbs glow and what makes the bulb glow, what acid makes the bulb glow, all the acids that make the bulbs glow. All that question you can put for the research work. Here you have so many project ideas. This website gives you so many project ideas and you can share it with the children. YouTube videos will help them to make the learning more interesting. You have so many educational videos to be shared with the children for physics, chem, bio. Quizzes. Here I will share the website with you all. The Khan's Academy and the quizzes here, you can actually make them play quiz of physics, chem, bio for grade 9 and 10. For quizzes.com, you can actually make a quiz. You can prepare your own questions or you can give them the quiz which is already there. And it's children learn the self-paced. You can add them, you can give them the code for the quiz and they can start playing. You can have a leaderboard where it will flash their score. So it is very interesting. Children love to do these quizzes. And your Khan's Academy, again, physics, chem, bio for grade 9 and 10, all the topics are there. You can actually make them play. So here it is self-paced by student for quizzes, and Khan's Academy, your teacher will be involved and keep the pace for the quizzes. So these are the all very interesting websites for the quiz and games. And Here you have ck12.org, where this website again help to give simulation, animation of a concept or difficult concept in physics, like you have friction, gravity, circular motion, centripetal force, and all that concepts. All simulation and animated videos are very beautifully done. Theory is given so beautifully. You can actually work on that, the model given over there. So this is again a very interesting website I found for science. So module 4 here, the last module which we have, that is tips and guidance to do well in CBSE board. So in physics, you can just have a look at this features, what can be done. These are the some of the tips. Yes, for physics camp bio. Do's and don'ts while attempting the paper. Write the answers depending on the marks allotted. You have to guide children because finally they have to give the CBSE board paper. So you have to guide them because they are well prepared, but there are certain things to be bear in mind so that they do very well. Writing a science paper is an art. So we want to develop art in them, the art of writing science paper. Write the answers depending on the marks allotted to the given question. Do not get stuck to a particular question. Students must move on if they could not able to find the answers to a particular question. Keep an eye on the time and try to finish all the entire paper in allocated time duration. Draw the diagram wherever required to explain the answer. So supporting the answer with the diagram, especially in biology, will really give a good weightage to the answer. Chemistry, you support the answer with chemical reaction, gives a good weightage to the chemistry paper. Formulae and derivations in physics support your answers, will give a very good weightage. So write answers in a good handwriting and try to maintain it till the end of the answer sheet. So these are the some of the points to be remembered. So the greatest effects on student learning occur when the teachers become learner of their own teaching and when students become their own teacher. So here we finish the presentation, teachers, and just I have will share the feedback and the attendance form. Please fill it, teachers, and then I'll end the session. Here in the chat box, I have given the link for the attendance and the feedback form. And
Can you
yes,
excuse me, ma'am?
yes.
Can you explain a bit about some jigsaw activity that we can use for the students?
Kushbu, your voice is cracking, and please fill the attendance form. Very soon you will get disconnected. You want me to share the PPT? I will share with you all. Okay? Yes? Yes, Kushbu.
Yes, ma'am. Am I audible now?
Yes, yes.
I was asking, like, can you explain a bit about some jigsaw activity that we can use for the students?
I will take it in the next session. Definitely, we have only 40 minutes time and we have already done. It's less than a minute left. So it's just a 40-minute session. Definitely, I'll put one more session. And please fill the feedback form. And thanks enormously to